like to invite the first speaker of the day. Joe. Joe is the founder of 11, the People Engagement Network. For the past 14 years in the GCC, Joe's passion has been to boost companies' performance through the engagement of employees and customers. He has an extensive experience with international brands like Hermès, Gucci, Versace, Ferragamo, Chopard, Choo, Barclays Bank, Etihad Airways, and more. And he works with digital pioneers native of the GCC who help employees and customers interact more authentically, efficiently, and passionately. Joe is convinced that digital can not only save retail but revolutionize it. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the discussion today.
Hello, Arvind. Thank you so much. And hi, everybody. I can see that there is quite a lot of people. We're 26 right now, and some names I know. It's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So it's a pleasure. Thank you, Arvind.
Joe, you said that when you say digital can not only save retail but revolutionize it, what do you mean?
I mean, for me, digital can really change the way the ecosystem of retail is working. You know, there are two main topics that we are currently discussing with brands. You named a few brands. We're talking about this with them, with others as well. The two biggest problems that brands have today is optimizing their workforce. We call this workforce optimization. So basically the question is, can we continue having people in brick and mortar stores waiting for clients to come? How can digital help to create new opportunities for these people? And the second big problem that brands are thinking about right now is omni-channel, and even we call it reverse omni-channel. The question is, how can we make the ecosystem of retail and omni-channel really work? Because today it's not exactly functional.
Right. So, in fact, from what you say, I have a couple of questions that comes to my mind immediately, Joe. But I also encourage the audience to post their questions or use the raise hand button. So you can also post your questions to Joe. Joe, the first thing that you mentioned is on workforce optimization.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by workforce optimization, and what is the role of digital in that era?
Okay, so you know, even before COVID, but take the case of COVID today. I don't know if some of you have been to malls during COVID, before COVID, right now. You can see that traffic in the stores has completely changed. You know, some stores are full of people, some stores are completely empty. And in retail, when you have the teams inside the store, the biggest problem you have is that they are here and they are waiting for people to come. And if nobody comes, well, they cannot sell. And if they cannot sell, they cannot get their commission. And this is huge. It's a huge problem. Because if they cannot get their commission, then, of course, when you're going to come into their store at the end of the month, and they already know that the commission is not going to come, well, you will not have this great experience that we want them to deliver. Because they know that even if you buy, it will not help them get their commission. So, digital can give these people an opportunity to transform their waiting time in the store into time where they can connect and interact with their clients anytime and anywhere. And if you take technologies like, for example, video conferencing technologies, or technologies like ZIWO, for example, that is doing something that is quite basic and super important, deviation. Suddenly, instead of waiting in my store and not having my time optimized, being some kind of a victim of the traffic, I can spend some time taking phone calls from the store on my own cell phone. Mm-hmm. So I can even not wait inside the store, but be in the stock room, for example, or my manager can tell me, don't come this morning, there is really nobody in the mall. And I can start to continue to produce opportunities of connection thanks to deviating the phones from the store to my own phone, thanks to deviating the emails from the store to my own device. Right. And I can create these new opportunities to interact and sell. You can do this with WhatsApp and other means. And this is, for me, what is the role of digital in workforce optimization,
Right.
killing these moments of waiting and making them opportunities to interact with the guests.
Perfect. Thanks for that. And moving to the second thing you said about reverse omni-channel,
Yeah.
right? Why is omni-channel such a critical topic to tackle today? And what exactly is reverse omni-channel?
So omnichannel is a critical topic because we've been talking about omnichannel constantly for the past 10 years. And if you type right now omnichannel on Google, you will find these, very nice representations of a happy customer in the middle, someone smiling, and all the channels around like bubbles, right? So you
Right.
have email, you have the store, you have the social media, you have, the phone calls, you have, any type of channel that you can think about, And supposedly, the customer can choose which channel they want to interact with. So they can buy online. And if it doesn't work online, they can choose to connect with the company on email. And if it doesn't work, they can also work on Twitter. But the reality is that it
Mhm.
doesn't really work. So I don't know if
Right.
some of you here in the room, have you ordered something during COVID and had, experienced a bit of difficulty? If you have, can you either say yes in the chat or raise your hand, or maybe say yes in the chat? If you have done a purchase that didn't work well during COVID, could you mention it in the chat box? Yes. I guess we're going to have a few yeses. Yeah. So not to wait too long for the, yeah, Henry, hello, Renaud. So supermarket deliveries. Hello, Tommaso. Yes. Okay. So we have quite a lot of things, right? So the point is to say, what happened then? You ordered and then it didn't work. You complained and you wrote on Twitter. The person told you, "Can you give me your order number?" Right? And then suddenly you gave your order number, but it didn't really follow up. So you decided to call. You called on the contact center. The person was very nice, asked you for your order number. And then you decided to go to the store, and the store told you, "Hey, you bought online. So if you want to buy online, this is not even our business." And this is the way it works. Each channel is operating perfectly, but they don't speak to each other. So the customer is completely lost. So what I mean, Arvin, when
Mhm.
I say a reverse omni-channel,
Right.
is to reverse the direction of the arrows. The arrows shouldn't be from the customer to the brand, but they should be on the other way around. And at the center, instead of having just the customer, you should have the employees. So let me give you an example. If you purchase something and you don't receive a confirmation and you call, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to call a person from the store who knows the products, who knows the stocks, who knows the availabilities, who knows the discount, who knows, if you talk fashion, who knows the sizes, who knows everything, and who is not producing anything in the store right now because there is nobody in the store? Do you prefer to talk to this person, or do you prefer to talk to someone who is probably very good but doesn't know anything about the reality of the store? And if you do a tweet, do you prefer the person to answer on the tweet to be a person from the store who knows maybe even you, who knows everything about the product, the store, the brand, the stock, etc.? Or do you prefer to send a Twitter to a digital marketing somewhere in the team who doesn't work on weekends? You probably prefer to speak to this person who knows the
True.
reality. So
True.
reverse omnichannel is about using digital. And I think, we talked about ZIWO, we talked about other technologies who really can converge the means of communication towards the employees and
True.
make these things accessible to the frontliners, so that any person who wants to interact meaningfully with the brand talks to someone who knows what they're talking about. So that is the reverse omnichannel. And this is, for me, this is a big revolution because it changes the job of retail itself.
Perfect. Because now this gives perspective to me, Joe. Because I don't want to take the name of the pharmacy company that I work with, as in that I buy my stuff with. They have their WhatsApp channel, but I WhatsApp the employee on his personal number, right? I text him, he sends me pictures, he says me what it is, and I ask all my questions because I want him to be answering my questions than somebody else who's on the who's probably doesn't know. And
Because,
another thing that I also faced during lockdown, because you asked this question, I had ordered a SIM card from one of the telecom providers, and which never got delivered. And I had to physically walk into the store, and they said, we cannot do anything. You ordered it online. You cannot do anything. I called the customer care. They said, we cannot do anything. You need to go online. So this is the situation everywhere. So my question to you, Joe, is there are certain business models and operating models that were existingly present in the retail sector, which kept the retail where online was already part of their existing portfolio of business, right? But with whatever we faced last year, there's a bunch of people who never had online or contactless deliveries or anything contactless part of their business model or operating model. All of a sudden, they had to adapt to different operating models and business models, right? So what is your suggestion to those kind of organizations that was never online and all of a sudden are online? Where do they start with omnichannel, or what is the first thing that they need to do?
So from a technical point of view, you have a lot of companies that are really super competent to help them set up an efficient omni-channel platform. This works. Where the thing starts not to work is the connection with human beings. So my recommendation is whoever provider you're taking for whatever channel you're taking, try to make sure that these channels are connected to the people who can add value on a daily basis to the customers. The big mistake of omnichannel is not so much the platform. I'm just going to give you a very short example. Do you have an idea of the conversion rate of fashion websites, fashion and apparel websites, e-commerce websites in Q4 2020? So the 3 last months of 2020, what's the conversion rate? The conversion rate is the number of people who visit your site during a month. Okay, here it's during the quarter, so during 3 months. The total number of people who visit your website versus the total number of people who buy. So 100 people visit your website, 2 people buy, the conversion rate is 2%. Do you know what is the conversion rate in 3 months in all fashion and apparel websites on average in 2020 during full COVID where everybody had to order online? What's the conversion rate?
I think it would have probably fallen down.
Fallen down? I mean,
yeah,
it's 2.24%, Arvind. 2.24%, which is a scandal to me. And it's even 31% better than last year, the year before, 2019. What I want to tell you is that when you allow e-commerce to be linked to the people who really deal with the goods inside the store, when these people can provide you, for example, with a visit, or when, if you have a problem with e-commerce, you can call someone and speak to someone who knows the product, who is operating in the store, the conversion rate goes to 25%. So to your question, really, and this is, I think, the critical topic for me today is whatever you do in an omni-channel ecosystem, make sure that the human connection that you create there is well plugged to the people who add value to your brand.
Right. You start within before you go to your vendor.
I think so.
And more than a solution driven, you look at how we could start from internally before you get onto the solution. Perfect.
And it's a change job. And you think of retail. Retail has always been a bit this thing that you do when you have nothing else to do in life. But the reality is that tomorrow retail can be a job where you work on the phone, on your computer, you connect with people on WhatsApp, on Twitter. You can, have so many diverse opportunities and flexibility in the industry of retail. This is where the industry needs to go right now.
Right. In fact, Joe, there's a lot that I want to discuss with you, but one last thing that I want to check with you before, because keeping time in mind, I want to keep this question. One last question. One common saying that I've heard in retail is you need to be where your customers are, right? So previously the number of channels were far lesser, and now the customers are available in so many more channels. Mm-hmm. So integrating this is definitely a key challenge. So any specific, if there was one key challenge that you see in Saudi Arabia, because today we've been joined by a lot of retailers in Saudi Arabia, one particular challenge that you think they need to address, what would be your one challenge or one solution that where they can start from?
The biggest challenge is for me, how can we get meaningful help when we need it? So your customers are going to come from many channels that you are obliged to open, right? In Saudi and anywhere else. The market is under an incredible growth, and a lot of things are happening there. This is the country of the future right now, Saudi. So how can you make sure that if people need help, they can get it to the right people? How, if I'm someone in a village or in a suburb of a province city and I want to buy something and it didn't go well for any reason, how can I make sure that when I speak to someone, this person can really help me? Don't let me speak to a chatbot. Don't let me speak to something I need to dial 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Can we use technology to put human beings back at the center of everything that we do? And this is why we're here, with ZIWO, and this is our passion. The passion is there. How can we make sure that we really connect people to people through digital platforms that are easy to use and that are producing value?
All right. So technology is just a mere enabler.
Yes,
but
yes.
people to people connection is the key.
To me,
Perfect.
yeah. Thank you.
I agree with you. There's one question that's come in the chat box. The question is, what do you think of clienteling, especially in the GCC area?
You'd be surprised to see how much in any country. I haven't experienced clienteling. When you go to clienteling through voice or through video, meaning that you're capable to connect, for example, on an e-commerce platform through video, or you're capable to have a phone conversation when people are having an experience or when people are having a problem, this personal feeling produces magic. We are so used not to have it that when it happens in the GCC, is an area where hospitality, family is the key. We care about friends, we care about family. People love to talk to people. You know this. I've been 14 years in the country, in the UAE. When you need something, you call someone. You want to speak to someone. You ask someone. More than any other country for me, more than any region in the world. So I think that in the GCC, clienteling, meaning the personal connection between two people, is going to create wonderful things, and technology exists to create this type of connection very easily.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for your valuable insight. I'm sure a lot of questions might come in